So you want to be able to take a great looking photo of your family while you're out traveling. Something you would feel proud to either post on Instagram or even post up on your wall and share with family and friends. Well, we learned a number of tips and tricks at Photopass to be able to take a great family photo. And here's some of the ones that I learned to pass on to you to help you take a great shot. So I was recently able to take a day out at Magic Kingdom to film some of the tips and tricks that we used to use at Photopass to be able to get some great family photos for people. Ones that when people looked at them, they went, wow, these are great shots. As funny as it sounds, they may have looked like they were hard photos to take, but most of them, they're pretty simple tips and tricks. So as I go around the park, I'm going to share some of those tips and tricks with you to help you be able to get your own photos just like that. We'll start off with settings, and then I'm going to talk about how you frame and set your shot, what you're kind of looking for, and then I'm going to take you around the park and show you different ways to be able to get those photos, as well as some examples of some of the good-looking photos that you can get, and probably even do better than I've got in these pictures. So, of course, one of the big secrets to getting good quality pictures is your camera settings. If your camera settings are wrong, you're going to get a lousy-looking photo. So, let's just assume that you know nothing about cameras and how to get the right settings. Here is the easy way to do it. You can put your camera on automatic, and it will do most of the work for you. You're going to get a decent-looking picture that way. If you want to be able to adjust it just a little bit, then on your camera itself, you can see that little dial, put it on P. That'll actually allow you to adjust a few things. I found in my own personal experience, I like shooting with a 400 to 800 ISO. And if it's on P, you can adjust that. You can determine if you want the flash on or off. If you're outside, I know this sounds weird for some of you, but use the flash. Because if you've got people looking in the sun, there's still going to be shadows in their face, and the flash is actually going to reduce those shadows. And again, with P, it's going to automatically adjust the flash, so it's going to get how much you want with it, but you do want your flash on. It's going to give you a nice, clear picture that way. If it's at nighttime, use a tripod, because it's going to take a couple seconds to get that good picture that you want. So whoever's standing there for you is going to have to freeze, and you use the tripod. If you're hand holding it, it's probably going to be blurry. So that's some basic settings for you. Use the P mode, ISO 400 or 800. 400 is a really good spot, it really is. And then pop that flash on, and that'll get you started. Then we'll start talking here about how close you want to be and how far away you want to be from your subjects to be able to make it a good looking picture. So now that you've got your basic settings down, now the biggest thing to look at is how do you arrange your picture? You want to make sure that you're actually pretty close to the people and that what you were getting the picture of in the background, your what we would call an icon, is actually a further distance away. Don't make the mistake that I did with my family at the Lincoln Memorial, where I sent them all the way up the steps and they end up as this little tiny person in the middle of this big building. And you can lose them that way. It's not a good looking photo, and it's not what you actually want. You actually want the people that are going to be in your photo to be fairly close to you, depending upon how many people are in the group and how big the thing is that you're taking behind them, whether a castle or memorial or something like that, as well as how far away you are from it. The further away you are from the icon that you're trying to get the picture of, the further you're actually going to step away from the family. And you want to make sure you have a nice zoom lens to be able to zoom in. Now, if you're on a phone, you're going to basically be about 8 to 10 feet away from the family regardless and stick there because you want to keep them close. You want to make sure that you arrange your picture so that you're shooting your families from about the waist up, kind of like I am in all of these photos. You want to make sure you keep your camera up at least around eye level of the adults so that way you can shoot over them as well and get that big icon. The people should take up about a third to a half of the photo on the bottom, and then the top half to 2/3 should be your icon. That way you can see it looking real nice and large. You want to focus on the people though. Now you want to make sure your people are in focus. So the way you do that is you actually focus on the people first. Make sure your point of focus is on the people. Push down your shutter button halfway if you're using a regular camera. And then lift the camera up a little bit so that way you can now see the icon while still keeping the people in. Then shoot the picture. If you're on a phone or something that has a touch screen, then make sure that you push your point of focus on the faces of the people, not on the icon. And that will help you keep the people in focus. It's okay to have the icon just a little bit fuzzy. It will look much better that way, though, to have the people in focus and it just slightly out. Trust me, it's a good looking shot. There are some different ways to arrange it depending upon what you have, but generally the people in front and center and the icon in the center behind you.
So it's interesting, there's a Photopass photographer hiding right here in the train station. Basically it's a rain location so he can shoot while he's covered. But this is not a place I would recommend getting a picture because you are so far from the castle and because there is a flagpole in the way. So don't do that. As you come up a little further on Main Street, typically there is a Photopass photographer right here at the corner. We can see these people lined up. And again, that's not the best place to get the picture of the castle because you've got to be spaced out, spread out, and the castle ends up looking rather small. Like in the picture here I'm going to show you. So go further up the street. So right here at the end of Main Street is actually typically the first Photopass photographer looking down towards the castle. It's not the best location. It typically has a long line. It actually was not my favorite location at all to shoot. But if you're wanting to get a Photopass like picture and you want to do it here as you first come in to get people when they first see the castle, what you want to do is you want to stand the photographer right about where the tracks cross, and then you want to actually put your family right in there somewhere in the center of the tracks. And then have a good zoom lens on your camera. I would recommend one that goes to at least 135 millimeters. And with that space, you want to zoom in so that the people fill up the bottom half of the picture, and it should make the castle look fairly decent in size, as opposed to a little tiny castle behind them. That's why you want the space, because it will make that castle look bigger. You'll notice, though, as you get further up Main Street, of course, the castle gets bigger as you get closer. And that actually will make a big difference in your picture. So if you're wanting a good picture with a nice large castle in the background, move close. So for me, if you want a picture of the castle with a little bit of Main Street, this is about the best place, around the alley or just past it, because the castle's going to turn up nice and large for you, but you can also get a little bit of the Main Street in there. So your picture will look a little bit like that. Actually, kind of zoom in just a smidge. So I would say you're going to want like that in the background, and of course you're going to shoot it vertically so you can get the whole top of the castle. Now, as you come up closer to the castle, you're also going to want to stand closer to your subject, and that's going to get you a better picture. So closer to the people you're taking the picture of, and then again, use your zoom lens to zoom in on the castle a little bit. These don't necessarily work good on a phone because there isn't a real zoom lens on it, but you can make it work. So if you want a good picture from this point on Main Street by the alley, quite simply, that is too far away. You want to be closer because they're going to get the ground and everything, and the castle's going to look small. On the other hand, that is just about the perfect distance right there. Probably about 8 feet or so, and he's going to be able to zoom in, get the castle looking really good. That's about where you want. Notice also he's bending. He's getting some good photos. So let me give you another example of ideal spacing here for this shot. You can see it's busy, but she is pretty much perfect distance from this family she's shooting. And again, you crop it. If you do it right, you'll crop it about the lowest waist, and then get the castle nice and big. Now here at this end of the street, yes, you want to be a little further away because you're further from the castle. So you step back a few more steps, zoom in, and that should give you a really nice looking castle shot. So here's a look at the setup for the train station shot. See about where the photographer's sitting. Then you see where the family is. Again, just a few feet away, a little bit more than the bricks. And that's going to get you a really nice view of the train station. So up here at the partner statue is actually one of the most popular places to get a picture. They'll usually have tripods set up here, but they don't today because it's raining. But it's also one of the hardest places to get the perfect picture. And I'll give you a hint, it is not lining up straight with the castle and the statue right in front of the castle. It's actually not a great looking picture there. What you want to do is you want to step off center a little bit and put that statue over on the side, hopefully without an umbrella in the way. and hopefully without people standing on the steps. And that way you can turn it into a triangular picture. And you can do it from either side. And if you put the statue there, and then you put the guests down in front of it, kind of in the middle of the two, and it ends up being a really pretty picture, especially at night. Now, the one thing I'm noticing with the Photopass photographers here, and seems to be true of all of them, so I'm not going to zero in on any, they're not coaching poses at all. They're not telling people how to pose, how to stand, a little bit where to stand, but no changing poses, no fun candids. So I know there are a couple of photographers that will do that, but every single one so far I've had to do my own pose, and I'm up to about 9 photographers so far. So get a little creative, have some fun with it.
So these are some examples of some fun, goofy, creative shots that we would do. We would have a lot of fun with them and play around, and you can of course come up with your own ideas, especially depending upon where you are. If you can come up with an idea where people are doing something that has fun in the picture based on where you're at, it's even better. So don't be afraid to be creative and have a good time with it.
One thing about these days that I forgot about, because it's been so long, that used to drive me nuts as a photographer, is if you go inside where it was cool on especially a humid, warm day, and you take your camera in with you, camera cools off, and then when you walk outside, the lens is all fogged up. It's like, oh man, you gotta clean it up again. So be aware, keep some lens cloths with you if you've got a decent camera. If nothing else, just to help unfog your camera, because it's gonna take a minute for the temperatures to equalize. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas about what to do to get a good picture for something like the castle, or if you're at a landmark or someplace like that. Whether it's Disney or whether you're traveling around, the ideas are still going to basically be the same. You want to be within a few feet of the people that you're shooting, but you want to also make sure that the landmark that you're shooting is far enough behind, but zoom in on it. Focus on the people, but make sure that you get the landmark zoomed in so it looks nice and big behind them. Because if you put them all the way at it, you're never going to see them. So hope that helps you get some good quality pictures, whether you're at Disney or at some other place. You get a good quality photo, semi-professional photo that way. If you got any other tips and tricks, I'd love to hear them. Please don't hesitate to send them to me. I'd appreciate it.
Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you got some great tips and advice out of this to be able to take your own great photos. Most of these are going to work just as well on a phone as they will on a camera, so don't hesitate to use them. If you've got other good tips and advice too, don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons for your support. My patrons are awesome, and they help make trips and videos like this possible. I also want to give a special shout out to my 2 new patrons, Brandon Lehman and Kevin Sutherland. Thank you so very much for your support. I appreciate it. If you want to know more about Patreon and supporting me, or about my fan pages, my merchandise, the equipment I use, and anything like that, check the description below. There's a ton of information there for you. Thank you so very much for watching, and God bless. Scratch those. So what we would do is we would actually focus on the people, hold our focus by putting in the... We would actually, in order to do that, we would actually focus on the people by pushing in the shutter button. Oh my goodness. Now you want to make sure that you have your people in focus. So to do that, you actually aim... I can't talk. If you want to know more too about me, or... Oh my blinking goodness. I am stinking this up. So thank you so much. This is pitiful. If you'd like to know about my merchandise, fan pages, and more, be sure to check the description below. If you'd like to know whenever I've got a new video posted, well, make sure you hit that button right up there and subscribe. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos, I've got a great one for you right here. And if you'd like to be like these wonderful people here and support me financially on Patreon, well, make sure you check the link right there. There's even some extra perks for them. Thank you so much, and God bless.